Talk about stage fright. Really making the guy cold, man. Come on. We good? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Mark Gallagher, and welcome to Gallagher University. So today I want to speak about our products and how we got to where we are today in regards to mortgages and short sales and modifications. Okay, so you get a better understanding of the products that we'll be selling. So the first thing is, what products do we have to sell? Right? So the products we have to sell are traditional listings. What's a traditional listing? It's a property that has equity. Really simple. So a homeowner might have never taken a mortgage. A homeowner might have just bought the house all cash. They have zero mortgage, but they're looking to sell today. And let's say the sales price is $500,000. How much equity do they have? $500,000, right? If a homeowner took a mortgage from a bank and they owe the bank $300,000 and they're selling their house today for $500,000, how much equity do they have? $200,000. All right, real simple stuff. Now, when it comes to short sales, they do not have equity. They haven't paid their mortgage in years. So let's run through that. So if a homeowner owes a bank $500,000 and their house is worth $300,000, they have what? Negative equity. So how much negative equity do they have? -2. You understand that? They owe the bank $500, but today the house is only worth $300. There is no equity. There's no money going to that homeowner. You can see the difference? Traditional, they're getting the money. Short sale, they're not getting the money. And then the other product is a modification. A modification can be done if they do have equity or they don't have equity. But they haven't paid the mortgage in years. They've had a hardship. Maybe a family member passed away and they weren't able to make the mortgage payments, or maybe they lost their job and they weren't able to make their mortgage payments for a little while, and now they got a job again and they're able to make the mortgage payments. And I'm going to go into these products in depth in a minute, but I want you just to understand what they are. Okay? A loan modification is exactly what it sounds like. I went to get a mortgage. I got the mortgage. Everything in my life was fine. Okay? I paid the mortgage maybe for some time, and then I had a situation come up. But I do not want to leave the home. I want to stay in my house. You see, with these other two, you're leaving the home. A short sale, you have to get out. A traditional listing, you're selling your home and you're getting out. A modification, I'm saving my home. I want to stay in it. And what the banks do is they reorganize and they modify the note, which is what I want to get into now. There's 3 components that are hugely important on every single transaction when you're borrowing money from the bank. It's the mortgage, it's the note, and it's the deed. And you need all 3 components to make a transaction happen. If you do not have all 3 components, you cannot make that transaction go forward. So let's take it step by step. So a mortgage, right, is I went to Bank of America or any bank and I said, listen, I want to buy a traditional listing or I want to buy a short sale. It doesn't matter. I'm buying a house. I provide my income, my assets. I have a job for 2 years. I pay my taxes. I'm able to provide them all the credentials they need for me to get this mortgage. And what the bank says is that's fine. You're going to put down a deposit on the house so you have skin in the game. And I'm going to lend you. FHA allows you to lend 97.5 on your first-time home buyer or conventional 80% is what the bank will lend you. So that means you got to come up with the difference. So let's say conventional, 80%. I got to come up with 20. Let's say that I'm going for the purchase price on this listing is $300,000, right? I got to come up with 20%. That's $60,000. That's my deposit. Okay? Simple. That gives me that I'm borrowing from the bank $240,000. Now the bank puts a mortgage against the house. So you understand that is a lien against the house. So what happens is, if I was to go sell that house, when they run a title report, there's going to show $240,000 is owed to Bank of America. So I cannot sell that house unless what? The loan is paid off. I'm paying Bank of America their $240,000. So now if I sell that property for $500,000, I have to pay off Bank of America of $240,000, and then how much is left? $260,000. Okay? $260,000 is my what? My equity. You understand? Okay. But they do not just stop there. The bank says, yes, this is my collateral. Your house is my collateral. And as we all know, it's a 30-year or 20-year or 15-year mortgage that they're giving me, right? And real estate always goes on the rise every 10 years, right? So their bet is that the real estate is going to rise higher and higher, and the value of what they're lending, hence why they're making you put 20% down and have skin in the game also, is going to always exceed what you owe them. Okay? But it's not enough for them. So what they do is they also give a note. It's a promissory note that Mark Gallagher promises to pay me back. And in this note, it dictates all the terms of the transaction. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so this is a promissory note. And I promise to pay them back $240,000 over 30 years. And they give me an interest rate. Rates today are about 6.5%. And my payment is $2,000 a month. Simple, right? That's it. So now they have their collateral, which is a lien on my house, and they have a note against me personally. So if I default, they have to sue me in court. Okay? And then they go after the collateral of the property, hence foreclosures. And this is why in 2008, everything got backed up. Because mortgage bankers, the big banks, were allowing people that should not be able to get loans to get loans. They were coming up with programs, 100% financing, 106% financing, where you basically could get into the house for free. So you could be a landscaper making $80,000, and they would just do a verification, and your cousin could answer the phone and say, no, he makes $300,000 a year. And that was okay for them to allow you to get 100% financing. So people were getting houses that really could only afford $300,000 houses. They were getting $1 million houses. Hence the whole 2008 crisis, the nightmare of the entire mortgage collapse. Because then Wall Street was packaging up these deals, good and bad, and selling them on the open market until the music stopped. And when the music stopped, 1 out of 4 people were in a foreclosure situation. The economy collapsed, interest rates rose, and the value of houses dropped. So now I had $1 million mortgage, and my house was only worth $500,000. So I was stuck, and I couldn't afford it. So now they had to sue me. They put a lis pendens on the property, and now they take me to court. But there was so many people in this situation, and New York State is a judicial state. Everything has to go through the courthouses. So they have to go to a judge. There wasn't enough judges. So it just backed up the foreclosure process. Where it used to take a year or 2 years, now it's taken 7, 8, 10 years. The statute of limitations is only 6 years. So some people were getting their houses for free. Besides that, they were running loose, and some people didn't even have the notes signed correctly. So it was something called robo-signing, where the banks were actually signing people's names. And then people would do audits on their files and see that it wasn't their signature and sue the lenders and get it for free. There's a reason I'm painting this picture for you, because now we're about to hit that same market. The same thing's happening. Interest rates are on the rise like never before. They raised them so quickly. The housing market is only high right now on a false market because BlackRock and Vanguard, they bought up trillions of dollars. They have not redeployed it to say that that these houses are not worth what they're supposed to be worth, which is going to make the entire real estate bubble blow up again. And I see it on a daily basis because I watch the leads we buy. The leads we buy are list pendants. The leads we buy are auction leads. So you start to see there's so many more auctions happening, which means so many more people are in foreclosure, which means so many people are getting their houses auctioned off, and they're losing them. And you're here to help them through that process. So understand that, yes, a bank gave you a mortgage, and yes, you have a note against you, but they do not have the deed. This is the homeowner. The homeowner always has their deed. Just like if you go buy a car, you finance it, but you still own the title to the car. Same exact thing. Okay? They have to get this deed. And they have to get it as fast as possible. Because if not, you're not going to pay them. They know this. They're losing money every day. They have to pick up the insurance on the property if you don't pay it, because if someone gets hurt, they're liable. They need to protect their asset, their collateral, because people rip out all the copper and damage the property. So they have to have insurance. They have to pay the taxes, because if you don't pay the taxes, someone else could buy that tax lien. It's your strategy, right? Okay? They have to, have some kind of way to get the property into some kind of solution for them as fast as possible, not going through foreclosure because they know how long it takes. So what do they offer? They offer you a short sale or a modification. So what we do is we call homeowners and we tell them we can help them. And our pitch is not a sale. It's not a sale. You don't have to sell anybody anything. The way we have it set up is we steer them into what they want for themselves. But if they can't qualify, they can't get what they want. So we give them a different solution. What do I mean by that? Well, your pitch has an intro. And that intro is, hi, this is Mark Gallagher. I'm calling with Process Me. I see here on your property at 166 East Oxford Street that you have a list pendants filed, or you have an auction. Are you aware of this? Simple. Simple. You want to say that whole sentence and lead them to a yes or no question. You don't want to get into a conversation where they're going to start throwing out all this stuff at you and then hang up the phone. Because it's a touchy subject for people. Okay? I'm losing what I thought was the American dream. Right? So my conversation is very quick. My intro is very quick, and it's high up. It's Mark Gallagher. You know, I even assume who I'm speaking to. So, hi, Mark. This is Mark Gallagher with Process Me. The reason for my call is I see you have a list pendants filed on your property. Are you aware of this? One sentence, one answer I want. Yes or no. No matter what they say, yes or no. The next question, the next statement that I say is, okay, what were you looking to do with the property? Are you looking to save it or sell it? That's it. Are you looking to save or sell? Now, if they say sell, do you need to know anything else other than two questions? How much do you owe? And how much do you think it's worth? Those are the two questions you need to ask. Think of it as when someone says sell, the only thing you need to think about is a real estate box. It should just click in your mind. Real estate box. I need to stay in my box. So, are you looking to save or sell? I'm looking to sell. Great. How much you own the property? $300,000. And what do you think the property's worth? $500,000. What type of listing is that? Traditional. You know what package you're bringing out to the house. Now you go in for the close. Okay, great. What time are you and your wife available for me to come out to the house? I have availability, look at your calendar, today at 2 o'clock, today at 3 o'clock, today at 4 o'clock. You want to get there as fast as possible. If you say, oh, I have availability next Friday, guess what's going to happen? You're never going to get that appointment. You're never going to take that listing because someone else is going to call them and get it off the street as fast as possible. Now, same pitch, same idea. What if I'm talking to the client and I say, are you looking to save or sell? They say sell. I say, again, what? Real estate box. How much do you owe? $1 million. What is your house worth? $500,000. In your mind, what is it? Short sale. Now, are you getting into, well, let me tell you all the benefits about a short sale. Oh, you're in foreclosure. Oh, you're this. None of that. None of that. You're setting the appointment and you're going out to the house face to face. Science and statistics show face to face, the level of your success goes up by 40%. Now when you're face to face, you're there and you're listening. This is not, I've watched salespeople do this. Oh, why are you in a short sale situation? Oh, my husband died. Okay, great, let's go. Excuse me? Did you just hear what I said? My husband passed away? Okay, great, let's go. No. You're listening. It's not about selling. It's about listening, consoling, helping them. The most important part is making a plan. The most important part is to know, do you have children? Are they still in school? What are they looking to do? Where do you want to be relocated to? Can I help in the relocation process? Do you have uncooperating tenants? You need to know everything. So this way, when you come back with the listing, we know exactly what needs to be done. Do we need to start an eviction process? Hire an attorney. So many times what happens is you're so fast to take the listing, you're just taking a listing. Your minds need to be on taking a closing. It's not about taking a listing. It's about having the end in mind. You're taking a closing. And you know the value of your time. And you don't want to waste your time. The value of your time, everyone has a value to say what my time's worth. So when I go to a house, whether it's traditional or short sale, and our client's like, listen, I want you to list my house for $1 million, and I have comps proving that the house next door, that's the same exact house, sold for $300,000, I'm not taking that listing just to take a listing. Right? So you need to understand that's going to happen to you, and you need to keep your value. And no, you just don't take listings to take listings. So now when you're taking a traditional listing, you're taking the best pictures you could possibly take of all the great stuff. When you're taking a short sale listing, you're taking the best pictures you could possibly take of all the bad stuff. And the reason why is you want to negotiate with the bank to get the best price for the new buyer. And short sales are a great way to get discounted properties for the new homeowners. Typically, they start off at 20% discount right off the bat. Could be in perfect condition, 20% right off the bat. Then if they're beaten up, there's fire damage, there's water damage, there's uncooperating tenants, again, another 20% off. So sometimes you get short sales for 30, 40, 50% off. Who is that good for? A short sale at 50% off. I understand anybody, but what if it's not mortgageable? Actually, end users can't buy it, right? Unless they get a 203K loan. So typically investors come in all cash. Why are investors good for you? Investors are good for you because they're buyers. They buy all the time. They're not a hassle. There's not a lot of open houses. They're just all cash buying your property. Now what can you ask that investor for? Since you're getting him deals, what can you ask him for? Besides your commission, what else can you ask him for? Get the listing back. Now think about this. I just sold you a $300,000 house. He's going to put maybe $100,000 into it. It's going to sell for him for $500,000. He's going to make himself, $100,000 he's going to make himself. But now you have a $500,000 what? Traditional listing that now you get back and you sell that same house at a higher price to somebody else. That's how you need to think. Okay? So now, let's get into when they say they want to save their home. I want to save my home. What do you think you need to save your home? Think about it. Think about what you need to save your home. Anybody want to take a guess? Income. Who said income? And who said money? Okay. Maybe this will help a little bit. Ready? So they say sell. We only care about the real estate box, which is how much they own, what it's worth. And the reason why is so you know in the conversation what listing you're going to take. Okay? So you're not going to a short sale listing with traditional documents. But whenever there's a list pendants on the property, I want you to take both listings with you. Because until you get the payoff, you don't know. You're not going to know. So you might as well get both signed just in case while we're waiting for the payoff. So you don't have to go back out to the house. Because if you do keep going back out to the house, and a lot of people with short sales, this is what they do. They'll go out to the house at 6, 7 o'clock at night. It'll be dark. You can't take any pictures. You take the listing. You come back with no documents. Now a week goes by. You finally get to go back out to Brooklyn to take the pictures. You only get some of the docs. Then all of a sudden 2 weeks go by. You go back out to the house. You finally get some of the documents. You're already 2 or 3 weeks out of the game to get a short sale done in 90 days. Because the horror stories most realtors think is it takes a long time to get short sales done. It doesn't. You know what takes a long time? Is the realtor not getting the documents that they need required. That's what takes a long time. Your time is money. So the way you set these up is the way you're going to close them. If you only find out half the information, so many times we have went 3 or 4 months, I've gotten the approval, let's close next week. Oh, Mark, I didn't tell you there's a tenant in the house. It's a tenant in the house. Now you have to go make a deal with the tenant. And if the tenant doesn't want to make a deal, guess what? You have to evict them. You have to hire an attorney. And guess how long that takes? If short sales are backed up, how long do you think evictions take? Because, guess why? After 2008 and years after that, it's been backed up. Then what hit? The pandemic. Guess what happened? The governor said for 3 years, nobody can be evicted from the house. So all the evictions are all backed up. And even if now they're starting to move forward, guess how many stacks of evictions the sheriffs have on their desk? So that's why I'm telling you, just like 2008, you're going to be in a short sale boom all over again. But for us, we want to give the client exactly what they need. Even though we're not in the modification business, if a client wants to sell their home, it's a service that we offer. Because statistics show they default again. And even at that time, if we get them another mod, statistics show they default again. And then they can't get another mod. So what's their only opportunity? Short sale. So it becomes shadow inventory for you. It becomes a client, just like on a traditional listing, right? On a traditional listing, typically a buyer becomes a seller one day. It's the same thought process here. Wow, you did a great job. You saved my home for me. Maybe I just needed it short term to get my kids through school. And now I'm ready to sell. I'm ready to do the short sale. So that's why in the beginning, to understand the expectations, to know their plan is hugely important. And you're going to learn when you go sit with them. Listen, we're not the IRS. We're not here to evict you from your house. We're here to help you through the process. Well, I need 3 months. No problem. We can get you 3 months. It's going to take time for us to get through this process, but at least now you're in control. Because before, you're out of control. You don't know what's going on with the bank. You haven't answered your mail. You haven't answered your phones. You don't know if the sheriff's going to come knock on your door. Now you're back in control. The bank knows you're looking to do a deal with them, so we could buy some time to get you the plan that you need and then help you through the process of exiting the right way, moving you out of the house, maybe moving you into another house or a rental down the block that you still stay in the same school district with your kids. We've done it all, which means you guys could do it all. Okay, so now I want to save my house. Same pitch, but I'm looking to save. What do I need? Come on. What do I need? Income. Come on, say it. What do I need? Income. I need income. If I couldn't afford my mortgage, right, and they're going to remodify it for me, because soon as someone says save, in your mind, it's a what? There's only one option. Loan mod. In your mind, I want to save my house. Loan mod. That's my product. You're not going to tell the client that. You're not going to say, hey, you want to save your home? Oh, great, I can get you a loan mod. You don't want to say that because you don't want to put your foot in your mouth. And what I mean by that is watch. I want to save my house? Okay, great. Do you have 2 minutes for me to pre-qualify you? That's your pitch. Because a lot of these clients think, well, I'm a mess. I have no equity. I have no assets. I have nothing. What do you mean pre-qualify me? You need them to feel they need to qualify, not to qualify, if that makes sense to you. They need to qualify for a modification. They need to have had a hardship for a short sale or modification. There has to be something. So now I say, do you have 2 minutes of your time so I could pre-qualify you? Sure. I'm setting the expectation. It's only going to take me 2 minutes. 2 minutes of your time? Can I pre-qualify you? Yes. Do you have income? They say no. Guess what? They don't qualify. So if I would have said I could definitely get you a modification, which most people do, oh, you want to save your home? I could definitely get you a modification. Let me pre-qualify you real quick. Do you have income? No. Can't get it for you. So do it the right way. Can I pre-qualify you? It's only going to take 2 minutes. Yes. Do you have income? No. If they say no, where do you go? To sell. You're right here. There's nothing else to talk about. You're not going to say, do you say over the phone, oh, you don't qualify because you don't have income? No. Like a doctor, when a doctor says, I took your blood. Hey, Mark, please come into my office. I need to speak to you face to face. They're not telling me over the phone I have a problem, right? They make you come in. Same thing here. You don't want to tell somebody that there's an issue. You want to go sit with them face to face and then give them another solution. So, do I have income? No. Immediately to the real estate box. How much do you owe on the property? How much is the property worth? And then set the appointment right out to the house. That's it. Not how many kids do you have. Not how long you've been on the job. None of that. It's all irrelevant. It's just right out to the house. And then bring your short sale package depending on their answer here. If it's upside down, you're bringing a short sale. If they have equity, you're bringing traditional. Period. But let's walk through as if they have income. So you have 2 minutes of your time so I could pre-qualify you? Yes. Do you have income? Yes, I do. Sure. What do you think the questions are you have to ask them? How much do you make? What I like to do first, you're right. You can do it any way you want. I like to say, what do you do for a living? But you could go any way because you could flow right into it. But let's just say, what do you do for a living? What do you do? What's another question? How much do you make? How much do you make? And the last question. Not yet. Not yet. One more first. How long have you worked there? So how long? Okay? Now, is there anyone else in the house contributing income? That's it. Because with loan mods, it doesn't matter Are you married? Doesn't matter. If you say, are you married? Yes, my wife contributes income. That's all good, but you don't need to. Is anyone in the house contributing income? Because a son, a daughter, a friend, anyone is acceptable. So again, let's say they say yes. My son, what are you doing? Asking the same 3 questions. I'm in my income box. I'm not bouncing to my real estate box yet. I'm in my income box. Now they say yes. You ask the same questions. How much do you make? $30,000 for the year. They said yes. How much does your son make? $10,000 for the year. So you got $40,000 in income. Now you're asking them what? The real estate box, right? What 2 questions? How much do you owe? And how much is it worth? So let's take that real quick. How much do you owe? $500,000. How much is it worth? $250,000. Now I want you to think about this. Can $40,000 pay for a $500,000 mortgage, plus their other bills? So in your own mind, is this a loan mod? It's not going to qualify. In your own mind, right? Let's make it really simple, because, this may, in your mind, you might think yes or no. Let's just say they both made $10,000. So it's $20,000 against a $500,000 house. Now what's your answer? Definitely not, right? Are you telling them here? No, you don't qualify. No, you're not telling him that. Where are you going to? To sell. Okay, are you available today at 2 o'clock for me to come out to your house? And what package are you bringing? Come on. Short sale package, because they're upside down. The script that I have gears you right to what you have to do. You never put your foot in your mouth. You never tell a client you could do something you can't. And you win every time. Because you're asking them what they want. And then you're trying to do the best for them as possible. But if something doesn't work out, you then go out and give them the other option, which is a short sale, which is still great for them as well. Because there's benefits of a short sale, which we're going to go over. Okay? So now let's say, though, let's just take a step back. And let's say the guy says $100,000 and his son makes $50,000. Will that qualify for a $500,000 mortgage? Yes, right? Okay. So now what's the last thing you want to do? You want to ask them for docs. So the documents will typically be on your application that I provide to you, but it's the same docs you need for a mortgage. Copy of your homeowner's insurance. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. 2 years tax returns or W-2s. Hence why we're asking the question, how long have you been on the job? 4 most recent pay stubs. If you get paid weekly, I need 1 week. If you get paid bi-weekly, I only need 2. A copy of the electric bill. What does the electric bill prove? That you live in the property. A copy of their driver's license. What does that prove? That they still live in that state and in the property, because it should have that address. Okay? Why am I telling you to get these docs over the phone? You don't need to go to an appointment. And that's the point. Time is money. In the mortgage business, does anyone go to the home anymore? No. Nationwide, I get all the same docs right over the phone. This person already gave their docs over the phone to originally get the mortgage. I can guarantee you. So why wouldn't you ask for the docs over the phone and just get them emailed to you? Why do you want to run around all over the place? The only time you ought to run all over the place is when it's not a modification, which is your business, which is a short sale or traditional listing. This modification is not your business. Yeah, it could be extra income for you. It's not your business. So I'm getting the docs over the phone, and I only want to deal with clients that want to deal with me, and I know my value. Now, how do I control the client? Very simple. I just ask. Well, Linda, can you do me a favor? Please get a pen and paper. Now, do I know that we could text them? Of course. Do I know that we could email them? Yes. That's too easy. I want to control my client. I want to know that my client is engaged with me, that my client and I are on the same page. So I just took your application. It took me 2 minutes or less. I'm pre-qualifying you. Please get me a pen and paper. Now write down what you need. And I'm making the client write down the docs that they need. And I'm explaining to them very briefly what they're for. Well, your electric bill is to prove that you still live in the house. And now my close is, this is Mark Gallagher. This is my phone number. This is my email address. When do you think you could send me over those docs? My negotiator leaves at 5 o'clock today, and I'd love to get this into the bank immediately. Simple. And you should be able to do these all day long. And now this is a lost leader for you to get short sales or traditional listings, because you're dealing with clients that typically want to try and save their home. Some will, and some won't. But if you could do this over the phone, and you get the docs, and now this client says I make $100,000, and you get the docs and it shows they make 30. Do you call the client up and say, hey, you don't qualify. I'm sorry, this isn't going to work out. I want to sell you on a short sale. No. You have all the docs. They're the same docs you need for a short sale. Most of them. So now you have the docs. You think that client's going to go send those docs to somebody else? Typically not. That's your second close. First, he wrote it down. Second, he sent them to you. Now you have them. He's not going to go to the next guy that calls him in 2 days and send them to that guy too. Now you go out to the house and you go over the documents with the client. Hey, Bob, let's sit down. Let's go over this. You told me you made $100,000. You don't. You make 50. When I do your calculations here, you're never going to be able to afford this modification. So here's the benefits of a short sale. We could buy you some time in the house. We could get you to walk away free and clear. You know the power of that? This here, guys, the 250 to the 500 is a deficiency judgment. That judgment, when they win in foreclosure, stays with the client. They garnish their salary and their pay to get it. Yeah. So think of you coming into their life. I haven't paid my mortgage in 7 years. Haven't paid my mortgage in 7 years. Hopefully, I saved some of that. And now today, you're coming in there saying, hey guys, I know you weren't approved for the mod. I'm sorry. And I'm going to show you why maybe they don't even want the mod. I'm going to show you that next. But you get to walk away free and clear from all this debt. You no longer have that debt. You get to walk away free and clear. If you live in the house, sometimes we legally get you money from the bank to relocate. So the bank pays them. It's not a lot of money, but $3,000 or $10,000. But if they got $10,000, the cost to move is probably $2,000, $2,500. You get them into an apartment or into another house. We put them in credit repair. In 2 years, remember, a foreclosure stays on your credit 7 years. In 2 years, because you didn't go into foreclosure, you did a short sale, so it only stays on your credit 2 years, Fannie Mae allows us to give them another mortgage. And then what can you do? You could sell them another short sale in the same area with built-in what? Come on, the first thing we talked about, built-in equity. Now would you give them back? The American dream. Or the American nightmare, as I call it. Okay? As I call it. Because the first 10 years you're only paying into interest. Okay? Now let's talk about this. So you got the mortgage, the note, and the deed. And what you're trying to accomplish by doing a short sale is you're trying to make the homeowner come to the table with the deed sooner than before the court case, before the foreclosure. They're going to come to the table and do a short sale. Now, if they want to save the home, they're doing a modification. Now, a modification is exactly what it sounds like. It's a modification of the original terms of the note. So we said in this case it was $240,000. We said it was 30 years. We said it was 6.5% interest rate, and we said the payment was $2,000 a month. And now I haven't paid in years. So if I haven't paid in years, what's $2,000 times 12? $24,000. Pick any amount of years. 7 years I haven't paid. So what's 24,000 times 7? How much? It's like 160 something, right? It's 160,000. So call it 160 for this conversation. Now you got what? 400,000, right? So I owe 400,000. My house is worth, let's just say 250. I'm upside down, but I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. This 400,000 is just off this payment. Guess what happens when you default on your mortgage? Default interest. It doubles. So your payment's really 3,000, 3,500. So you can add another 100 grand to this, easy. So now you owe 500,000 against 250. Are they ever getting that equity back unless something crazy happens in our economy where real estate goes on the rise? They're not getting it back. So now what does the banks do? The banks fool you further because the banks are in the business to lend money. The banks aren't in the real estate business to take back houses. They're in the business to lend money. So I lend you 300,000, like we talked about. You put down a little bit. I give you 240, which technically, in case nobody knows this, fractional reserve banking, it's your money anyway. All of us put our money in the bank, and they take our money, and they go to the Fed window, and they get 10 times our money. Then what they do is they take our money, and they lend it back to us at way higher rates. They make the money, and we get ungats. We get nothing. We get 0.00 nothing percent. That's really what's going on. But let's just take it step by step. I haven't paid my mortgage in years. They lent me my own money. First 10 years of me getting the regular mortgage that I got, every dollar I paid into only went into interest to pay the banks. Nothing came off my principal. My money died at that moment. The moment I put my 20% in, it was dead. Instead of putting it to work for me, it just paid their interest. Now I default. They double the interest. I'm in foreclosure because of what they did to me, because they put me in a bad loan. Now I'm 500,000 in. My house is worth 250, and I think I want to save it. In my mind, I like the way things are. I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. I'm complacent. I don't realize what's really happening to me. So they allow me to get a loan modification. So what does that loan modification look like? Well, it's the original note and the terms. All they do is adjust these. So what they do, as long as I qualify with my income, they now take the 500 grand, because of course they got to get all their money. They're not giving you a break. They're getting all their money, but I'm going to make it look real good for you. I'm going to give you, instead of a 30-year term, I'm going to give you a 40-year term. Because if I give you a longer term, it's going to lower the payment. But you're still paying me all that more money in interest. Think about it. Then I'm going to lower the rate, because people with 700, 800 credit scores, people that have a job and perfect income, are getting 6.5%. But because you failed me and you messed up and you didn't pay and all this, I'm going to give you 2%. So it goes both ways. Because a lot of you guys in here that have houses that are doing the right thing, you got high rates. But the people that messed up are getting lower rates than you. So you get a 2%, right? And then your payment is $1,000. But think about the extra 10 years. So watch the extra 10 years. $1,000 times 12 is 12,000. 12,000 times 10 is another 120,000. So now you should just add up for the other 10 years, it's another 120,000. So originally you got into this house at 240. Now you're paying 620. You get it? And that's why sometimes you need to go sit down with your client and walk them through. This may not be the right decision to save this house. I know you're used to it. I know you love it. I know it was your first house. But does this make sense? Who are you leaving this house to? The whole idea is, right, you're building up equity to leave it to your children. Who are you leaving this house to? It's debt. So you're not leaving it to anybody. So sometimes you have to talk them through that, but sometimes they have a need right now. Like, I can't have anything go wrong for me right now. Please save my home. Let me get the modification. And then you make a plan with them. In 6 months, then you unwind them. Maybe the short-term plan is okay if they can afford it. All right. So, who has questions for me? Yeah, it's not as high, actually. It's probably less. You're probably looking at like 30 or 40%, opposed to you're allowed to do DU like 50%, right? Yeah. So it's probably a little less than that. It's probably more like 40%. But the difference between modifications and mortgages, they allow you to use anyone's income in the house. So it could be anybody. It could be my best friend living with me, and he's contributing. I could use that income. Anybody else?
What if the bank sells the note?
So that doesn't matter. They will sell the note. They do that. That's how they make more money. So they'll sell the note, but as a performing note now. So they'll repackage it up, and this is how the world goes around, right? So it's a defaulted note. Now it's a mod. They made 3 payments. It's performing again. Package it up, resell it. That's how they make money. Anybody else? Yeah, keep them coming.
So you said like everyone in the friend lives in the house, they could be part, but would they be on the loan as well? Like, would be on the
No, they're not on the loan. It's just contributed income. Yep.
Wouldn't a key question also be for loan mods to ask to make sure that they're on a mortgage? Because I had a client where I was speaking to the wife and she wanted to do the loan mod, but the husband was the only one on the mortgage and he didn't want it.
Yes.
So it almost ended the deal, but we convinced him to.
You could use his income, but he's not going to be on the loan mod. So always, it's a really good point. For all your deals, whether it's a short sale, whether it's traditional, or whether it's a modification, you want to know who's on the deed, right? And you want to look it up on Property Shark before you go out to the house. Okay? We always look up who's on the deed, even if they tell me, no, it's just me. Because on a short sale, if it's a husband and wife, again, you don't want to waste your time. If a husband and wife are on the deed, you have to get both signatures. On a traditional listing, you only need one. On a loan mod, you need both, whoever is on the deed. Now, I'm not saying for the loan mod, they both have to go on the deal. And I am saying that even if I'm not on the deed, you could use my income if I contribute in the household. But that's a very good point.
There's a divorce and stuff too, and you're trying to get that.
So I've been through that a lot. So divorces are very difficult because there's always a husband or a wife that owe the other spouse money. So you got to get the divorce decree. And in the divorce decree, sometimes it states exactly what they're supposed to do. But then you got to watch out, is there child support owed and all that stuff? So typically, nobody's getting any money really, right? The bank gives $3,000 to $10,000. So everybody understands that. Even New York State sometimes has judgments against the property. We call up and get those judgments released. But when it comes to, a spouse that's a little upset, typically a lawyer will call them up and say, look, nobody's getting any money. There is some relocation. Maybe you guys could split it. And we work it out, But it's good for both of them to get the lien lifted from them so they don't have the judgments against them. What else? That's it? That's all you got? All right, everybody understands what I said? Yeah, you get it? All right, perfect. Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Appreciate you back. Thanks. We good, Carlo? Let me just say, I'll see you next time on Gallagher University. Thank you all very much. Good. That's my ending.